Announcing the Enoch calendar for the year 2021. From Adam, it's the year 6110. In this calendar, the year begins in the spring, at the time of the spring equinox. And we're going to share in this video the pattern and order of the calendar as it relates to the House of David. The pattern there you see on the left side is the House of David. The pattern on the right is a way of illustrating the book of Enoch, chapter 72, and the calendar. Okay, so we're going to talk about the order of the worship around the Lamb, around the Father, as it relates to the precise time, signs, giving us the proper time, and the feast. So we're explaining to you when the feasts are. I encourage you to download the calendar, get this as a PDF file. There'll be a number of pages, including these. We're going to talk about some of the signs. We're going to talk about the House of David. Okay, and there's other calendars out there. I don't read the other calendars. We have submitted this information. If you like it, great. If you don't, that's fine. But the book of Enoch does describe the order of the heavenly luminaries. Other calendars have different Sabbaths, okay? The Sabbath is a 7-day Sabbath, and watch the beavers.
I know they're alive because I can hear them. I can hear them inside the lodge here. Listen to this. I guess these guys need a day off too. But why did they pick Saturday? Do they even know it's Saturday? Or maybe it's just a coincidence. The only way to find out is to keep on observing through another week. Okay, it's Sunday, and the beavers are back out and busy. They've obviously come back out of the lodge. They look healthy. So I'll just keep watching and see what's on their schedule for this week. Another week of observation, and the beavers were out every day, busy as usual. Sunday through Friday at about the same time every day. And then came Saturday. And just like the first week, all was quiet again. This continued on week after week, month after month, summer and winter, with the same results.
My dad has been watching these beavers for about 16 years. He's been getting to be kind of an expert on beaver behavior, at least with this family of beavers.
They've seemed like normal animals, except we've never once seen them out on Saturdays.
So there you can see the beavers keeping the fourth commandment. So you should keep the fourth commandment too. And they tell us precisely when the Sabbath is. It is Saturday. Okay, so now we have the days of the week properly. Saturday is the Sabbath. It's the seventh day of the week. Everything else as it relates to the Gregorian calendar is different. The day begins at sundown. Okay, so the day begins at sundown, not at midnight. The year does not start in January, in the winter. The year begins in the spring, okay? The first month of the year is Passover, very clearly from Exodus chapter 12. Okay, so we have the time you start a day. You have the time you start the week. The first day of the week is Sunday. And you have the time you start the year is the springtime in the northern hemisphere. All right, then obviously the calendar has different days of the month. In a general sense, the Enoch calendar will start the month around the middle of the Gregorian month. This year, the year starts on March 17th. March 17th is the first day of the first month, okay? We'll get into the dates of the feast as we go, as we explain the calendar, but we want to explain the most basics. Now, if you're watching this video and you haven't followed some of the other videos on this channel about when you start the year, we have other videos that will discuss when you start the year, how you know when to start the year, and that's not the purpose of this video. Okay, purpose of this video is to show the calendar for this year, release the calendar every year. We release the calendar for the year. Now that we have the leap cycle, we can give you the basics of the calendar going forward into the year 2024. Okay, so now once we've established what the proper time is, when a day begins, when a week begins, now we have to look at when a month begins after we know when a year begins. Okay, here's the calendar, and as you can see, we have the calendar here in the PDF, and I thought I would just share with you the orientation of the way the calendars are you're used to, just so you can get some basics here. Obviously, most calendars you're going to look at, Gregorian calendars or otherwise, will have the days of the week as 7 days in a row. The calendar we've submitted is not 7 days in a row. There's 30 days in a month, so it's oriented by 6 times 5. That's 30. The reason for that is every month is 30 days, 30 days, 30 days in the Enoch calendar, okay? Perfect order. So when you look at it, the days, okay, are oriented different than the calendars you normally look at. So normal calendar, let's look at it. So the Enoch calendar, it begins on day 4. That's a Wednesday. Day 4 is a Wednesday. The first day of every year is a Wednesday. Okay, we could see the Sabbath is Saturday. Okay, so for example, this year, 2021, the first day of the first month is March 17th. So you'll see the number in the top left corner here and here is the day of the month. Over here is the month. So this is month 1, this is day 1, and in the corner, you can see it says March 17th. We zoom in here. Okay, see it says March 17th. And of course, over here, we've done the same thing. We're showing you March 17th. So the first day of the first month is March 17th. And then in each corner, March 18th, March 19th. All right. So there you can see the Gregorian date. So all you have to do is look at the Gregorian date and the day of the week. Okay. And you can always see it. So this one I just oriented, and you can see this is day 1. And this is day 30. And like most calendars you look at, then you have a space here with no days on it. There's no order here. It's 30 days, but the rows are 7 times 5. It's 35. So then you have 5 days missing. So that's why we orient the calendar, because we see certain orders and symmetries, and that's what we submit to the people. So March 17th, first day, first month. Now, you see this circle here. This is a full moon. Okay, whenever you see the calendar, you see a circle there, full moon. When you see a black circle, that's a new moon. So we do track the moon cycle, okay, and have it on the calendar. So there you can see a full moon on Passover. So if you just want to watch this video and find out Passover is March 30th, okay? Passover is March 30th. First fruits is April 4th, okay? Because you have Passover, then you have unleavened bread. Okay, unleavened bread goes for 7 days. All right, so there you can see in the calendar how we've oriented slightly different than the calendars you're used to. So now once you look at it, you can see that the days go diagonally. So here's the Sabbath here, 7th day of the week. This calendar has the 7th day of the week always, okay? You can see that's the 4th day of the month, the 11th day of the month, the 18th day of the month, 25th day of the month, okay? That's just the way you're used to seeing a calendar in a row like this. But this one, it's going to look slightly different. I'll zoom in to where you have the 4th day, okay? And then diagonally, 11, 18, and 25. So there it just goes diagonally when you look at the day of the week. And they're color-coded so that you can keep track of the day of the week by its color. For example, the first page of the calendar looks like this. And when you look at this, here, you can see green is Saturday. Okay, so it's good to have this in color when you print the calendar. And there you can see green, Saturday. Okay, the first day is purple. And you look here, purple is Wednesday. Okay, dark blue is Thursday. Thursday, okay. And then light blue, Friday. Saturday is green, right? Then Sunday is yellow. Monday is orange. And here you can see, right here, Tuesday is red. And then it begins with Wednesday again, okay? So if you have this and you have this in color, it's always a reference guide to the day of the week. And the color coding that's on the calendar, okay? So that's something people have found helpful as a way of determining how to read this if it's a little different than what you're used to. So you have over here the year 2021 in the Gregorian calendar, and we're going to use the year 6110 from Adam because there's confusion sometimes when we come to the other part of the year where the Gregorian calendar changes in January, but the Enoch calendar does not change. So it you can see here that in the 10th month, in the 18th day, this 18th day of the 10th month is January 1st. So in the Enoch calendar, these months, the year doesn't change, but the Gregorian calendar does. Okay, so when we say 2021, well, this is 2022 in the Gregorian calendar. And so that's half of the month 10. It's all of month 11 and month 12. Okay? So that's why we're going to refer to it by its year, 6110. So that tells you that the whole year in the Enoch calendar starts in the spring equinox and then begins in the next year that way. Okay? So that's just one way of it. It's just something you have to get used to learn the calendar. Okay? Now, mention this as Passover, all right? Then after Passover, you count to the Feast of Weeks. And then this year, of course, is very significant because we're counting to the 1,335 days. So when we come to the third month, we come to the Feast of Weeks. You can see we've identified that. You see the Feast of Weeks comes right here. This is Pentecost. This is the 50th day that you count. It's called the Feast of Weeks. Okay? Go in here, and you can see the 9th day of the third month is our 1,335 days, okay? There you can see it. Right next to it is a blood moon the next day, the 10th day of the third month. Now, if you're wondering where that is in the Gregorian calendar, okay, Pentecost is May 23rd. See the 23 right there. Next to it is a 24. That's May 24th, okay? And thus bringing us the Feast of Weeks. Okay, so there's the Feast of Weeks. Then our next major feast is in the 7th month. So again, we have year 6110, the 7th month. Feast of Trumpets is September 15th. Okay, so September 15th is the first day of the 7th month. Yom Kippur is the 24th day, September 24th, okay? And then Tabernacles begins September 29th, going till October 5th, which you can see here. October 5th is Tabernacles. That's a Feast of Tabernacles. Then Hanukkah is in the 9th month. So in the 9th month, on the 25th day of the 9th month, that's December 8th, okay? And it goes for 8 days. Then Purim is here. Purim is the 12th month, 15th day of the 12th month. Also, actually, Purim goes over 3 days, guys, 14th, 15th, 16th. But those on the Gregorian calendar would be February 26th, February 27th, February 28th. So February 27th is Purim. All right, so there's our major feasts. Now, on the last page of the PDF file document, if you get that downloaded, you'll see this diagram here. And I just want to explain it a little bit differently. Then we have some updates to the calendar this year based on new information. So, for example, this diagram here is the book of Enoch. In the book of Enoch, it describes angels ruling over the time. So you have angels over each month, and they're named here. And then you have 4 angels over 3 months. Okay, so they're positioned 1, 2, 3, 4 in the cardinal points. Now, how the calendar works, guys, is you have the month 1. In the month 1, you can see that there's yellow, which is sunlight. White is nighttime. So the proportion of the day that's equal sun and night is the spring equinox there. And then in the fall, it's in the 7th month, and then the autumnal equinox is here. What the book of Enoch does is it describes the changing of the seasons as the amount of daylight increases in the summer. Okay, so here you come to the 4th month, and this is the summer solstice. Okay, then it decreases again, comes to the fall, here the 7th month, and then the amount of sunlight decreases until we get to the spring, or the winter solstice. Winter solstice in the 10th month, and then the amount of sunlight returns again to the spring equinox. So the book of Enoch describes those points as the 31st day. Okay, 31st day, 31st day, 31st day. And there's also portals by which these would appear. Now, most of you are not used to this, but when you look at the horizon, like let's put this, okay, right here. And if you look at the horizon and you find the spring equinox, if you find that on a point in the horizon. Now, let's just look at the horizon and illustrate this, okay? So if we're looking east, and we are looking east, but let's just have this a point of reference. Let's just say the sun rises right there at that point, okay? And then from there, let's say that's a spring equinox. At that point, the sun is going to move on the horizon each month. Enoch calls that a portal, okay? So the amount of space between one place and the next one is a portal, okay? So this is portal number 4, and then it's going to go to another space. And in the summer, that's portal number 5, number 6. Okay, then it comes to portal number 7. So we'll submit to you that the book of Enoch says it stops at portal number 6, but it makes more sense to have the portal be number 7. Okay? And that's the farthest point that the sun would be in the summer solstice. Then the sun will move on the horizon. This is the sun rising every day. We come back to the fall. Okay, see that? And then what will happen is this is back to portal number 4, and then there will be other spaces, okay, that will be 3, 2, 1. Okay, and then the sun would appear. This is approximate, guys. We don't know exactly, but then in the winter solstice, the sun will be here. This would be portal number 1. Then it would begin moving back a month, back. Okay, that would be the winter. So then this would back be to the spring. So if we look at our diagram, and if we look at it here, you can see this number 4, that is the 4th portal. Okay, that's the spring equinox. And then each month, the sun would move on the horizon, okay, into the summer solstice. Come back to the 4th portal in the fall, and then begin moving to the winter at the 1st portal, okay? So that's how we use this diagram here. Now, the next part of the pages of the calendar, you can see this here. Now, on these pages of the notes, we can see 2 more pages. I'll make this available so you can have it at one glance, like we're looking at here, and then also you'll have it as a single page, so you can print this off, hopefully print it off in color. Now, what we want to look at here is this is the whole year, of course, and then what we have is, again, the months and the feasts here. Okay, so month 1, month 2, month 3. And then what we'll have is, you can see highlighted in orange is the feast. So you have, in the first month, you have the Feast of Unleavened Bread. So this is weeks. Okay, so you get the Feast of Unleavened Bread. You have the Feast of Weeks. These are the feasts that last a week long. Okay, and tabernacles here that last a week. Now, the reason we call this the House of David is basically we're referring to 1 Chronicles chapter 24, 25, 26, and 27. Now, what are those? Those are a order of priesthood. So there's an order of priesthood of 24. So in the book of Revelation, it talks about the 24 elders. Those are here. We're illustrating as calling them the Sabbath song. So they serve every Sabbath. Their name is on the calendar every Sabbath, okay? So when you look at the calendar and you see the Sabbath, remember the Sabbath is in green, you'll see a name there, okay? See that? It says Abijah. So he's serving for that week. Now this is the 7th day of the week, so he would serve the preceding 7 days. Then the next one is Yeshua. And so his name Yeshua, this is the Sabbath, so it's the 7th day. So that priest would have served the preceding 7 days. See that? So that's Abijah. So John the Baptist's father, Zechariah, he was Abijah, the same priest course. We have other videos on that where he discussed that significance. So that's in 1 Chronicles 24. Now we use 1 Chronicles 25, which you see here, as our year. So the year has a name of that priest. Now these are called the singers and the musicians. So there's 24 singers and musicians, just like the 24 elders have harps. Okay, this is the order of the 24. So this is our year number 8. So in our year number 8, it's Jeshiah, okay? And that is the first, okay, week of the year, and that's his year. So he's the 8th in the priest course. Now what it says in 1 Chronicles 25, it says Jeshiah, and it'll say his name, and then it'll say 12 brethren. Well, 12 brethren means 12 months. Okay, so Jeshiah, that's every year is a different priest's name. Okay, and then you go through an order of 24, which conclude and then continue again. So you have the order of priests that serve on the week. You have the order of priests that serve on the year. And then we also have the priest that serves in the month. So in 1 Chronicles chapter 27, it's actually not a priest. This is actually the military. Okay, so the military has a reserve military, if you will, and so they serve every month, and we listed the names of the military here. So you got the priesthood, or the military by the month, the priesthood by the week, and the priesthood by the year. That's what we're calling the House of David, okay? So every year we submit that, and what we'll also do, guys, in a comment in the video, the Sabbath song, there's a specific song that was discovered in the Dead Sea Scrolls where every Sabbath they sang a particular song. And that will go through the course of 3 months. Okay, so there's 13 Sabbaths in 3 months. Okay, and I'll list those songs for you. They're quite extraordinary. So that's what this section is here, the Sabbath songs. And there's 1 through 13, and then it continues again 1 through 13. All right, now, that is the House of David. So what do we see? We saw the year, we saw the week, and we saw the month. Now, the next section you can see here, it's the crown of 12 stars. So the woman has the sun, the moon, the crown is 12 stars, okay? So the 12 stars are 12 signs. Okay, so now let's explain the signs, because it's a stumbling block for many people, and it is unfortunate that many people use this incorrectly. I don't talk about it much because it is corrupted so much. But the signs are in the Bible. All right? And what we've done this year is we've shown you the signs, we've shown you the meaning. So what the sign mean, the signs tell a story. Now, the Greek signs and the astrology is not the story of Yahweh. It is a story of the fallen angels. They use that. And those of you that have a sign on your month, you're following paganism. That's not what we're talking about here. The sign is not about you. Okay, it's not about you. The sign that Yahweh put in the heavens, okay, is his story. It's all his story. Now let's look at some basics here. While we have the whole thing laid out, first off, around the throne there are 4 living creatures. Okay, there's a lion. Okay, then you see Leo, the lion. There's an ox. Okay, there you see Taurus. There's a man. Okay, man. There you see Aquarius. So there you can see the perfect positions in months 2, 5, and 11 in the year. All right. Now the eagle appears in Capricorn. Okay, that's Aquila. Now how this works is you have 12 main signs. Okay, 12 main signs, and then you have something called a decan. Now these are the old decans. There's newer signs, but basically the decans, there's an additional 36. So how they more or less correspond is you have a month, you have a main sign, and then you have a lesser sign. So for example, in the first month you have Aries. Okay, that's the lamb. Book of Revelation, Christ is the lamb. Okay, then you have Cassiopeia. Okay, Cassiopeia, we found that name Cassiopeia in Ezra chapter 8 and verse 17. Then you have Cetus. He's like a sea monster. Okay, well, that's Leviathan. Okay, so many of these we can see in Job chapter 38 and 39. We'll explain that. But these are examples of how the signs are in the Bible. Okay, Orion is in the Bible. That's in Isaiah 13 and other places. Pleiades is in the Bible. It's in Amos 5 and again in Job. Okay? So what these mean is significant things. Like, for example, Gemini, the twins, is the 2 witnesses. Okay? And that comes on the month where we have the Feast of Weeks and the 1,335 days, exactly as we've been explaining to you. Okay? So those are the main sign and then the lesser sign. Okay? Now, I just want to run through real quick where these are in the book of Job. So in the book of Job, the Most High says this in himself when he answers Job out of a whirlwind, and he talks about certain signs. Okay, he talks about something called the Mazzaroth. The Mazzaroth is these signs. Then he talks about Pleiades. Okay, he says that himself. He talks about Arcturus. Okay, so Pleiades, we know that's the 7 stars. Arcturus is Ursa Major. It's the bear. And then once he describes those major signs, along with Orion. Where's Orion? Orion is here. Okay, he talks about Orion. He talks about Pleiades. He talks about Arcturus. Okay, and he uses the word Mazzaroth to describe them. All right. Then he goes through and he describes other animals that are also signs. He then describes the lion, which you see is Leo. He describes the raven, okay, which is Corvus. He describes the goat, and the goat is Capricorn. He describes the donkey. Well, the ancient pictograph of Cancer is not a crab, but 2 donkeys, okay? This is some ancient stuff, guys, that I'll have a note for this if you're interested. I'm going to go through it quickly, okay? Then we have... it says unicorn, but that's obviously a mythological creature, but the King James, and it's actually an ox, a bullock, okay? Talks about the bullock, and then he talks about the horse, all right? The horse is Pegasus, okay? He talks about the hawk. The hawk could be the harp, okay? Lyra, but it's also a harp, and he talks about the eagle, okay? So all of that is in Job chapter 38 and 39. Then I think it's Job 40 talks about Leviathan. Okay, so what we're getting at is all these signs, the Most High said them himself out of his own mouth. So that's what these signs are. Now, the other thing we have here is that in previous years, if you watch previous years of the calendar, you'll see the other section we have is the 7 ecclesia. So in the book of Revelation, there are 7 ecclesia, there's 7 churches. How those work is they meet in a course of time of 7 weeks. Okay, 7 weeks. So the 7 weeks leading, to Pentecost. All right. And then once that follows, another 7 weeks, and you count throughout the year. Okay. Now, what you do there, you can see you don't count unleavened bread and you don't count the Feast of Tabernacles. Now, if you don't count that, okay, now what you do is now you have 50 weeks. Now, we know there's 52 weeks of the year, yes, but if you don't count those, now you have 50 weeks. Once you have 50 weeks, now you have a precise order of the 7 ecclesia. Okay, so that's what these are here. And if you know, okay, and that's what you can see in this diagram here, the 7 ecclesia. And the first one is in the 3rd month. Okay, so the week after the Feast of Weeks begins, 7 weeks. You count 7 weeks. That's the first one. That's Ephesus. Then Smyrna. And then you count throughout the course of the year, okay, each of the 7 ecclesia. So those 7 ecclesia are described here, the 7 by 7 week cycle. Okay, and there you can see their names as it goes throughout the year. We do also have a digital version of the Enoch calendar for the year 6110, which you can see here. And this is helpful for some people to understand the days and have a clearer format. It's 20 pages, includes more description. For example, what happens here is you have the division of the day. Okay, so you can see here it says Passover. Well, that's beginning in the previous day. So this line here is when the sun goes down. Okay, that's on March 29th when the sun goes down. Okay, and then it goes into the next day, March 30th till the sun goes down. And then when the sun goes down, then it's the first day of unleavened bread. So some people find that very helpful. So this is also formatted the same way we've drawn it, with also all the descriptions, all the feasts, of course, but then all the descriptions we have here, a quick reference guide to explain the days of the week, everything that we described, the 7 churches, the pre-cycle, the moon cycle, the eclipses, the Council of the Watchers, and the feasts, and a whole quick reference guide. This is the other page, second pages. And it also has the calendar in months. So, for example, you can see you can have just one page for the whole month. And that way you can see the whole month on one page if you have difficulty reading. I'm just trying to cover all the different complaints and excuses of why people can't follow the calendar. So I'm very grateful for a subscriber for doing a digital format. Now, if the calendar seems overwhelming and you have a little difficulty understanding it, this is a way you can look at it. The more you look at it, the more it makes sense, the more amazing it is. But another thing you do is take this page here, print it off in color, and get a clock. If you get a clock, all you need is the hour hand. So take this, cut a circle around it, put it inside your clock, and then all you need is the hour hand. And you set the hour hand right here at the first hour of the day is 7 a.m., and then you just watch this. As you watch this, you'll begin to see that how a day is a year, like we explained before. And then as you look at this on a regular basis, it just makes sense. You'll just see the perfect order in God's true calendar. So that's something I highly recommend. Here's our calendar. Let's talk a little bit about the prophetic events, significant events of this year. You see each calendar we submit, it has a seal or trumpet or bowl here. Okay, so what we have here is 1,335 days that we've been teaching about. Really, from this and after is what we'd expect to see the first bowl. Okay, then we have the second bowl. Now, during this time, of course, we have the 1,335 days we are watching for, and we have the abomination that makes desolate, 27th day of the 8th month. Okay, this is November 10th, 2021, and we have a lunar eclipse on November 17th. We'll describe more in another video, the 4th day of the 9th month in the book of Zechariah, and the significance of this. Okay, those are things we're watching for, and please get the calendar, get the PDF form. We'll also have the digital format. And guys, thanks for watching. And fear God. Give glory and honor to him, for the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him that made the heavens, the earth, the seas, and the fountains of waters. Amen.